this is looking pretty good for me. I have a board, I have Sylvanas, I have Amara for healing, I have Shadow Reaper Anduin, I have Spellstone for resurrection. Okay, sure, we'll resurrect a Treant, but hey, that's okay. It's something. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. What could go wrong here? Oh look, there she is. Oh look, it's Kun. Which means Malygos? No, Ragnaros. And I don't like where this is going. Oh dear. Oh dear. And he pauses for a moment and you think you're safe. He's going to end the turn and pass. And then you'll find a way to cobble together a win. You'll find a way to come back. Is he going to pass? No. Deathwing. And look, I steal Deathwing. But there's going to be 6 rags on board. Oh dear. And Deathwing's being, you know, as helpful as he can be. He's trying to absorb the rag hits, but no. There's nothing I can do there. Oh god. What a way to go. Pretty fun though, I have to admit. So what are we playing today? We're playing MalygosFanBoy's Coffin Crasher Priest. Now, this deck is pretty cool because it's deathrattle centric. I love deathrattle minions. It plays Enzoth the Corruptor to get those deathrattle minions back to life, so you get that value. You have a selection of board clears in this deck. You have Entomb to steal a minion, you have Light Bomb, Double Excavated Evil, you even have Spirit Lash too. So this deck is pretty good against aggro. And of course you have the Priest quest, and you get Amara for that healing. Now you can complete the quest pretty quickly because you have double Loot Hoarder in this deck. You have Barnes to get a deathrattle minion out quite quickly. You then even have Twilight's Call, 2 copies, in order to get those deathrattle minions back. So you can complete the quest relatively quickly, maybe even before turn 10. So if you're struggling against aggro, then you know you can play Amara and heal to 40, and then you win the game. The trouble is against combo decks. Can you pressure them? Can you kill them quickly enough? That's a bit of a struggle. And as you saw there against the Druid, he drew his entire deck. I still had like 14 cards left in mine, and he went to Fatigue and drew his sort of rag combo and killed me. Can you put them under enough pressure is the question. So if you guys have any thoughts on that and any changes you'd make, because it's an interesting deck. It tries to be a big priest whilst being, you know, sort of almost a Reno priest with with Amara, even though it's not a Reno priest. So it tries to get the healing plus the death rattle value, you know, it's with the resurrection of big minions. So it tries to do a lot of different things. So let's have a look at this deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder, and we're going up against a rogue. Now, this is a challenging matchup because the rogue, if this is a weapon buff rogue, they will focus on buffing up the weapon, and you know, clearing your board turn after turn with vanish effects, with saps, with blade flurry effects, all of those different sort of tools that they have. Focus on buffing the weapon, and then eventually the weapon grows big enough, and it is the weapon rogue, the Kingsbane Rogue. Now we can see the draw weapon card, which is very annoying. They'll focus on buffing the weapon. It gets big enough, you know, 7 attack, 8 attack, 10 attack, 12 attack, and then they just start smashing your face with it. And then they don't go to fatigue because they keep shuffling the weapon back into the deck. You go to fatigue, and you know, they just smash your face and win the game. And throughout the game, they will play Kolar Oracles. They'll mill you. You know, I tend to be a bit of a slower deck, so I may hoard cards in my hand, so I could get milled. I could lose important cards, and then they just win the game. So I probably have to prescribe here to a plan of trying to keep my hand as empty as possible to avoid being milled. But then they have Vanish, which sort of, you know, screws you over. So it's very hard, I think, to come up with a winning strategy here. And look at my hand. I can't do anything. Double Eternal Servitude, Psychic Scream, double Excavated Evil. What am I doing here? What can I do? There's nothing I can do. This is really annoying. Where are my loot orders? And actually, that is an issue. I haven't played many games with this deck, but I do find that getting my loot orders it's a real struggle. But yeah, we had to Psychic Scream that. If that died, his weapon would have been buffed, and we need to stall that as much as possible. But anyway, I'm going to place Statue here, and the reason is as follows: if he has Sap, if he has Vanish, and if we'd played Sneeds, for example, without the coin, then we would have been milled. We would have been milled. Because we would have had 10 cards in our hand, and because the coin still being in the hand, and it would have milled us. That would have been bad. But anyway, playing the statue again means that we are closer to completing our quest, which is pretty awesome. We'll see if he has another sap. Nope, he's going to just kill it. He hasn't put any healing on his weapon yet, and that is often what is game winning for the Kingsbane Rogue. The healing effect means that if they buff their weapon up enough, it doesn't matter what you have on the board, they will still keep clearing your board by attacking the weapon in, but it will still keep healing their face. So in the end, you actually do no damage at all. So maybe the only way to win here is to put him under as much pressure as possible before he gets the healing on the weapon. That seems to be the key to his victory, the healing. There's Sap effect. But it's okay, we're not milling yet. What do we do here? Because he's going to trade it in, right? He's going to trade it in, he's going to get the weapon buff.
What is Elun's will? I have no time.
So now, the quest is complete. This is a pretty quick quest completion. So you can see how against an aggro deck, if you can complete the quest quickly like this, you do have a chance of survival. In fact, if I was going up against aggro, and just look at my hand, double Excavated Evil, Spirit Lash, Light Bomb, you know, we'd be all over aggro. We'd be winning that game easily. But now he's got a 9 attack weapon, but no healing on it, and that is crucial. Because we have 9 attack on board here. We're putting out a lot of pressure. So I'm contemplating Sneeds here. I could have played Shadow Reaper Anduin and just dealt 2 damage to his face just to put him under more pressure. Maybe that was a better play, because next turn I could piece together a few cards maybe. You know, I have Spirit Lash, which is cheap. I have Excavated. Maybe we could use those to you know, cast our hero power a couple of times. But anyway, ooh, there's Vanish. 11 attack weapon. That's not good. That's not good. But again, crucially, no healing on that weapon. No healing at all. So I think now may very well be the time to trigger Anduin. We get some armor, which is very important. Because with 11 attack weapon, you know, you could combo it with a couple of other cards. If he has Leroy, Eviscerates maybe, Cold Bloods, we'd have some problems. I don't know if Kingsbane Rogue runs Leroy. Do they even run Eviscerates? Anyway, the mill plan for him, well, it works out. You get rid of the Spellstone, but he's nearly dead. And I have Shadow Reaper Anduin live with some cheap cards that I can combo that hero power with. This game is over, and I feel pretty relieved because, you know, think about this. If he'd had the healing on that 11 attack weapon, would we have stood a chance in this game? Because he'd keep throwing that weapon into our statues, into you know, into Amara, into any other big threats that we play, and he'd have been healed up every time he attacked. So, you know, winning the game would have been a hell of a lot more challenging. Anyway, he thinks he can survive. He thinks he can survive. He puts us down to 13. And yeah, he sees the writing on the wall. There's actually a pretty sweet win, somewhat unexpected for me, given how much trouble I've been having with the Kingsbane Rogues, but there we go. So, we didn't get to see Coffin Crasher in action, but I say I've played this deck in a few games, and I have played Coffin Crasher. It's good. It's good. It's just not great. And the deck as a whole, it's trying to do too many things, in my opinion. It's trying to be the Reno style healing priest because of Amara, obviously. It's trying to be big priest as well, and it's trying to sort of control the board with all of that AoE. Is it trying to do too much? Is it diluting itself somewhat? Against aggro, you're fine. Against mid-range decks, you can compete. Against control decks, or against Q blocks, it can be a bit of a problem. Although Sylvanas that comes down on 6 against a Q block that's managed to cheat out big minions. And remember, on wild mode, cheating out big minions means Mal'Ganis. And then Zoth bringing out a big board a bit later in the game. So a well-placed Sylvanas against a Q block it can be game winning. So I don't know, this deck does look like it's got a lot of positive tools. I just haven't had as positive of a win rate as I would like with it. But I am very grateful to MalygosFanBoy for having introduced me to this deck, because it's a lot of fun to play. They see Eternal Servitude, they think you're Big Priest, and think, oh, this is interesting. And then you play Amara and heal to 40, and they don't know what to make of it. So yeah, you can confuse your opponents a bit with your different cards and your different strategies in this deck. And it is a lot of fun to play. So, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.